Hi guys, welcome to Literacy Time. We are going to be working on some of our core vocabulary words today, words that we've already worked on this week, because our sign says, I am a reader. These are my words. And all of these words right here are words that you are learning. And the words we're working on this week are, I can read, I look, or I see. The picture is see and look depending on how we use it in a sentence. So we are going to use our core vocabulary words while we're reading our story about Chrysanthemum. And Chrysanthemum is working on being friends with other kids and feeling good about herself. This story that we're reading today is called Chrysanthemum. And Chrysanthemum was written by Kevin Henkes. He's the author. He's the one that wrote the book. He's also the illustrator. He's the one that drew all of these wonderful pictures. And this book was published by Scholastic Books. Chrysanthemum. Let's look and see what we see about Chrysanthemum. Let's see. I see a little baby mouse in a baby bed. I see a duck hanging for her to play with. I see Chrysanthemum with a blanket on her. Let's hear what the story is. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. Absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Okay, what do we see on this page? I see Chrysanthemum sleeping in her baby bed. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. And I see pictures of chrysanthemums on her blankets. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. I see Chrysanthemum getting bigger. She's in a big girl bed now. I see Chrysanthemum climbing a tree. I see Chrysanthemum washing her face. Chrysanthemum loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. It looks so fancy. Chrysanthemum loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayons. chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. I see chrysanthemum looking happy and dancing. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started to school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way to school. Hooray, said Hooray, said Chrysanthemum. School. But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. So here we have Mrs. Chud, Dawn, Eve, Lois, Al, Les, Kay, Max, Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Ken, Joe, Rita, Victoria, and Chrysanthemum. It's too long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. So look, I see kids pointing. I see Chrysanthemum wilting. She's getting sad. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the whole entire alphabet, Victoria exclaimed. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. I see Chrysanthemum looking sad. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful, and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. So I see Mom and Dad being very happy and trying to cheer Chrysanthemum up. I see Chrysanthemum wiping her eyes. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner of macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi, which is a really fun game. Look, Mom is giving Chrysanthemum a hug. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. Look, Chrysanthemum is smiling in the dark. The The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. And look, while she's dragging her feet, she's writing her name. Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. And they're saying that because a chrysanthemum is a flower you could pick and you could smell. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now put your head down." I see Victoria not being very nice. "I just cannot believe your name," said Victoria. And she said, I just cannot believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, pish," said her mother. "They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced," said her father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said her mother. "After all, it's absolutely perfect," said her father. I see Chrysanthemum thinking about what her parents said. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. Ooh, I see Chrysanthemum having a bad dream. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. See, she's dreaming. She's got flower petals right here. And here's a big Victoria. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Look, Chrysanthemum is sad. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets in the next I am so sorry, guys. I keep getting tongue-tied. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. I see Chrysanthemum looking at the flowers. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," the flowers seemed to say. Oh, I wonder what class this is. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Look, the kids are all sitting quietly while Mrs. Twinkle sings for them. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the Dainty Fairy Queen. Rita was chosen as the Spiffy Butterfly Princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important Pixie Messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. I see. Kids not being as nice as they could be. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. "What's so humorous?" asked Mrs. Twinkle. "Chrysanthemum," was the answer. "Her name is so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on her name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "She's named after a flower." Aw, poor Chrysanthemum. Look, she is so sad. "My name is Long," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It is?" said Joe. "My name would scarcely fit on a name tag," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It would?" said Rita, pointing. "And," said Mrs. Twinkle, "I'm named after a flower, too." "You are?" said Victoria. "Yes," said Mrs. Twinkle. "My name is Delphinium, Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby's a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect." Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Look at Chrysanthemum. She's smiling. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. "Call me Marigold," said Joe. "I'm Carnation," said Rita, pointing. "My name is Lily of the Valley," said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think that her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. Look at Chrysanthemum. She is smiling and happy as she's going home. Epilogue. That means the rest of the story. Overall, the class musicale was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was an absolutely perfect daisy. Victoria made only one mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the Dainty Fairy Queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire Dance of the Flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. The end. So, Chrysanthemum in this story is learning how to like herself, and she's learning how to be friends, even though sometimes kids aren't very nice. I look, or I see, Chrysanthemum. Here's the flower chrysanthemum, And there is Chrysanthemum the mouse. All right, guys, that is the end of our literacy time today. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.